Have you ever considered how much power you've relinquished, not to a machine or an external force, but to your own reactions? A harsh word from someone triggers your anger. Unexpected setbacks bring frustration, and criticism or failure can send you into a spiral of negativity. In those moments, it feels as though your emotions are steering your life, rather than you being in control. When you allow external events to dictate your inner state, you lose mastery over your own mind and become subject to the whims of circumstance. But what if you could pause? What if, no matter the situation, you remain steady and composed? By resisting impulsive reactions, you wouldn't just gain control over your emotions, you'd reclaim control over your life. This is a foundation of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided some of history's greatest minds through challenges with clarity and resilience. Today, you'll discover how to integrate these principles into your own life. If you're ready to stop being swayed by external forces and start mastering yourself, keep reading, because the insights ahead could transform the way you navigate life. Cultivating control. Let go of what you cannot change. Imagine receiving an email from your boss. Its tone harsh, perhaps even unfair. Your pride stings, frustration surges, and your fingers hover over the keyboard, ready to respond in anger. But before you hit send, ask yourself, will this reaction truly serve me, or is it simply a fleeting emotional response that will only escalate the situation? Stoicism is not about apathy. It is about clarity. It teaches a fundamental truth. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. You cannot dictate how others speak to you, nor can you control unforeseen circumstances. However, you can always control your response. If you react impulsively, your emotions take charge. But if you take a deep breath and step back, you reclaim your power. True control lies not in forcing outcomes, but in choosing your response. It may seem counterintuitive, but the less you react emotionally, the more control you maintain. When you allow external events to determine your mood, you surrender power to them. If someone insults you and you retaliate, they have dictated your emotions. If a challenge induces panic, the situation itself governs your state of mind. But when you pause and choose your response thoughtfully, you regain control, like a skilled rider guiding a horse. The circumstances may be unpredictable, but you decide your course. Consider Mark, a marathon runner who trained diligently for months. On race day, heavy rain made the track slippery, and 5 kilometers in, he twisted his ankle. He had two choices: curse his misfortune and dwell on disappointment, or accept the reality and shift his mindset. He couldn't change the rain or undo his injury, but he could control his response. Instead of succumbing to frustration, he resolved to return stronger. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "You become what you give your attention to." If you focus on what is beyond your control, other people's opinions, unforeseen obstacles, or perceived injustices, you allow the world to shape you. But when you shift your focus to what you can influence, your mindset, your actions, your resilience, you take ownership of your life. Letting go of what you cannot control is not weakness. It is wisdom. A soldier cannot prevent the outbreak of war, but he can determine how he fights. A business leader cannot control the economy, but she can adapt her strategy. A parent cannot make every decision for their child, but they can lead by example. Even in the face of great adversity, the most powerful choice you have is how you respond. Consider the story of Jesus. When he was arrested, his disciples panicked, and one even drew a sword to fight. But Jesus remained calm. Though he had the power to resist, he chose restraint. His response shaped history, not through force, but through wisdom and composure. Now, reflect on your own life. How often have you been consumed by things beyond your control? How many times have you let external events dictate your emotions, actions, and peace of mind? When you learn to release what you cannot change, you liberate yourself from invisible chains. React or respond, the choice that defines you. We've all experienced moments when frustration or anger threatens to take over, whether it's a careless remark, an unkind gesture, or an unexpected challenge. Your heart races, your fists clench, and the urge to react is overwhelming. But what happens next? If you allow impulse to take over, you may lash out, argue, or say something you regret. The satisfaction of reacting may last a moment, but the consequences can linger far longer. Reaction is immediate, emotional, and often uncontrolled. It stems from a primitive part of our brain that once helped us survive, but is less suited to the complexities of modern life. Today, battles are fought in conversations, negotiations, and relationships, not in the wild. And while an ill-considered reaction may not endanger your life, it can jeopardize something just as important: your dignity, your opportunities, and your integrity. The alternative is to respond. The difference between the two is crucial. Reactions are reflexive, while responses are intentional. Responding requires a pause, a moment to consider what truly matters. By choosing a thoughtful response over an impulsive reaction, you cultivate wisdom and self-mastery. In every situation, you have a choice. Will you let external events control your emotions, or will you decide how to respond? The answer to that question determines not just your peace of mind, but the course of your life. Who reacts is like a small boat tossed by a storm, completely at the mercy of the waves. But someone who responds, they're the captain of the ship, steady, intentional, navigating even the roughest waters. Responding doesn't mean being emotionless or avoiding confrontation. It means choosing how to engage without losing yourself in the process. Imagine you're an emergency doctor. A patient is rushed in, bleeding profusely. Do you panic, shout, and let your emotions dictate your actions? Or do you stay calm, assess the situation, and take deliberate steps to save their life? Reacting in fear could be fatal. Responding with clarity and control makes all the difference. The same principle applies in everyday life. When someone insults you, the instinctive reaction is to retaliate, but a wise response is to pause and ask, is this worth my energy? Is this a battle I need to fight? Or is it better to let go and maintain my peace? Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Life will throw challenges at you. People will say hurtful things. Circumstances will test your patience. None of that defines you. What defines you is how you choose to respond. A criticism can be either an insult or an opportunity for growth. It all depends on how you perceive it. But how do you stop reacting and start responding? First, don't trust your initial emotional impulse. It's like a drunk man shouting in your head, loud, irrational, and unworthy of your attention. When anger rises, pause. Take a breath. Step back. Ask yourself, do I need to respond immediately? Will this matter in an hour, a day, a year? That brief moment of pause can be the thin line between losing control and mastering the situation. Another strategy is to change the questions you ask yourself. The average person, when faced with a problem, asks, why is this happening to me? But a Stoic asks, what can I do with the situation? The first question makes you a victim. The second makes you the one in control. Look at the strongest individuals, not the loudest ones, not the ones who slam their fists or threaten others, but those who remain composed under pressure, who make sharp decisions even in chaos. Why can they do that? Not because they don't feel emotions, but because they don't let emotions control them. The Bible says, fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. A fool lets anger explode unchecked, but the wise hold their peace. If you've ever regretted something you said or did in anger, you already understand the wisdom in this. Now, picture a day where you are no longer ruled by emotions, where you don't get furious when someone cuts you off in traffic, where criticism doesn't ruin your mood, where setbacks don't drain your energy. How much more could you accomplish if you weren't constantly caught up in pointless battles? How much time could you invest in things that truly matter instead of being consumed by negativity? Control isn't about forcing others to change. It's about mastering your own response. Try it. Next time someone pushes your buttons, don't react. Step back. Observe. Recognize that you have a choice. When you choose to respond rather than react, you'll realize that control was never something outside of you. It was always within. Have you ever made a split-second reaction that you later regretted? If you could go back and handle it differently, how might things have changed? Share your thoughts, because sometimes a small shift in the way we respond today can lead to a better life tomorrow. And if you want to continue exploring how to take charge of your life through Stoicism, don't forget to subscribe. You control more than you think. All it takes is the right choice. Stay calm under pressure. The Stoic way. Adversity works the same way. It doesn't send a warning. It doesn't care if you're prepared. One day, your company goes bankrupt. One day, someone you love leaves. One day, the doctor calls with bad news. In those moments, reacting on impulse only makes things worse. But here's something most people don't realize. Calm is not a reaction. It's a decision. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any moment. In any crisis, what matters is not the event itself, but how you perceive it. If a fire breaks out, will you be the one running in chaos or the one who steadies their breath and looks for the way out?" Behavioral psychology calls this reframing, the ability to shift your perspective on a situation. When faced with difficulty, our instinct is often to imagine the worst. But what if we intentionally chose a different interpretation? Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist, discovered profound truth. Those who survived were not necessarily the strongest, but those who found meaning in their suffering. When everything is taken from you, the only thing left is the choice of how you respond. Take something as real as losing a job. For many, it feels like a catastrophe. But from another angle, it can be an opportunity to escape a stagnant career and pivot towards something new. This isn't blind optimism. It's active reframing. It's choosing a narrative that allows you to act rather than be paralyzed. Calm isn't just a mindset. It's a survival skill. When faced with stress, your nervous system triggers the fight or flight response. Your heart pounds, your hands shake, your breath quickens. In prehistoric times, this reaction helped our ancestors outrun predators. But today, it often backfires. If you panic in a job interview, you lose the opportunity. If you freeze in an accident, you make critical mistakes. So, how do you train yourself to stay calm in a storm? One of the most powerful techniques is box breathing, a method used by Navy SEALs to stay sharp under extreme pressure. The principle is simple. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Repeat. Studies show this practice lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, and shifts your brain from a reactive state to a rational one. But breathing alone isn't enough. True composure comes from a prepared mind. People who crumble under pressure are often those who have never faced discomfort before. Soldiers are not born brave. They become brave through endless training. So when battle comes, their emotions don't dictate their actions. A person who knows how to swim doesn't fear falling into water. A person familiar with hardship won't break when life gets tough. One way to develop this mental resilience is to deliberately seek discomfort. If you always live in ease, the smallest inconvenience will shake you. But if you intentionally expose yourself to challenges, waking up earlier, training in harsh conditions, stepping into situations that make you uneasy, you condition your mind to remain steady when real adversity strikes. Do not fear hardship. Train yourself to be someone who does not break under its weight. Because adversity doesn't create character, it reveals it. Silence alone is not always the answer. Instead, a deliberate response can be far more powerful. Sometimes, a simple statement like, "I don't care for this," or even an indifferent glance can be enough to show that their words hold no power over you. As Epictetus once said, it is not events that disturb people, but their judgment concerning them. It is not the insult itself that upsets us, but the meaning we attach to it. Words are merely sounds carried through the air, unless we decide otherwise. The Bible echoes this wisdom. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. Engaging in pointless arguments only brings you down to their level. Responding to provocation with more provocation means playing their game. But if you choose not to engage, you retain all the power. You've already made it halfway through this journey of mastering emotional control. That means you're truly invested in learning how to respond to the world on your own terms. We are gradually breaking free from the invisible chains that bind our emotions. And in the next section, we'll dive even deeper. Stay with us, because the best insights are yet to come. If this has resonated with you so far, give this video a like so others can benefit from these lessons, just as you have. Step back to take control, the power of pause, Picture yourself holding a full glass of water. If someone bumps into you, the water spills. But have you ever stopped to ask, why did the water spill? The answer is simple: because the glass was already full. If your mind is constantly filled with stress, anxiety, or anger, even the smallest disturbance can push you over the edge. But if you leave room, if your glass is only half full, then no matter what happens, nothing spills over. This is the power of stepping back. When we pause before reacting, we create space for clarity. However, reacting is instinctive. Our brains are wired for quick responses, just like an animal flinching at a sudden noise. But today, most of our struggles are not life-threatening. The ancient Greeks had a concept called it araxia, a state of unshakable tranquility. This doesn't mean indifference. It means a deliberate calm. Imagine standing on a high bridge, looking down at a rushing river. If you stand too close to the edge, a strong gust of wind could throw you off balance. But if you step back, you can watch the water flow without fear. Taking a step back doesn't mean giving up or being weak. It means allowing yourself the time to assess the situation with clarity. When someone offends you, you have two choices. React immediately, letting anger take over, or pause and ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow or next week? Most of the time, the answer is no. A simple yet powerful method to practice this is a 5-count rule. When you feel anger or stress rising, take a deep breath and count to 5 before responding. This might seem minor, but it can completely transform the way you handle challenges. The best athletes, top negotiators, and even military strategists apply this principle. By not rushing into a reaction, they create an advantage. And it's not just about emotional space. It's about physical space too. If you feel overwhelmed, step outside. If an argument is escalating, take a walk. A change in surroundings can reset your mental state. The Bible offers wisdom on this. A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. The foolish let their emotions explode instantly, while the wise learn to restrain themselves. And this applies not just to negative emotions. Even overwhelming joy can cloud judgment. How many lottery winners lose everything in months due to unchecked excitement? How many people ignore red flags in relationships because they're blinded by emotion? Pausing allows us to control not just situations, but ourselves. Mastering small moments, like handling an insult or a minor setback, prepares you for life's greater challenges. And that leads to an even deeper lesson: endurance. Endure with purpose. Strength through suffering. Endurance is not weakness. It is one of the highest forms of strength. Reacting is easy. Anyone can get angry when insulted. But staying composed in chaos, that takes mastery. So let's be honest. If you want control over your life, you must first master how you respond to the world. Think about the last time someone treated you unfairly. How did it feel? Did you immediately want to retaliate? Maybe your mind crafted the perfect comeback. But after the anger faded, what was left? Likely exhaustion or regret. You had given your power away. You let someone else dictate your emotions. The Stoics understood that self-control is not about suppressing emotions or becoming indifferent. It's about enduring discomfort without letting it control your actions. Think of a soldier standing firm under a commander's shouts, or a fighter absorbing a hit without losing focus. They don't remain calm because they feel nothing. They remain calm because they refuse to be ruled by reaction. Take Cato, the Stoic known for his unwavering character. He deliberately wore simple clothes and walked barefoot in public to train himself against ridicule. People mocked him, yet he remained unaffected. Not because he didn't hear them, but because he knew reacting would mean surrendering his power. If he got angry, he would have lost, not to them, but to himself. Why does this matter? Because life is a constant test. Every day, you will face impatience, unfairness, and frustration. If you don't develop endurance, you will waste your energy on battles that don't matter. You will be drained by fleeting frustrations and left exhausted when real challenges arise. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point." True strength isn't just about what you believe. It's about how you hold your ground when tested. Endurance is not about suffering for suffering's sake. It's about embracing discomfort with purpose. It's about choosing where to place your energy rather than letting the world decide for you. And when you master this, you don't just react to life, you shape it. Stand strong in the storm. When faced with challenges, staying steadfast requires grounding yourself. The world will push, tempt, and test you, but your strength lies in your response. If you seek calm, practice silence when chaos begs for a reaction. If you desire control, train yourself to endure without breaking. How do you put this into practice? Start small. The next time you feel the urge to react, when someone cuts in line, unfairly criticizes you, or tries to provoke you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, does this truly matter? More often than not, the answer is no. If you can remain still in these small moments, you start laying a foundation for real mastery. Here's the paradox. The more you endure, the stronger you become. People who react impulsively believe they're asserting power, but in reality, they're exposing their greatest weakness, lack of control. The one who remains calm amid the storm, who stands firm while others waver, holds the real power, like a rock in the ocean, unmoved by crashing waves. So ask yourself, do you want to be that rock, steady and unshaken? Do you want to take control of your life, or let the little things control you? If you're ready to develop true inner strength, commit to the journey. Calm steady as a rock and take the first step. A powerful way to train this mindset is through negative visualization. Imagine losing everything, your loved ones, your career, your health, not to become pessimistic, but to prepare your mind. When you've already considered the worst, you no longer fear it. A person ready for any outcome is never caught off guard or broken by circumstances. Some might wonder, if I accept everything, won't I become passive? Absolutely not. Acceptance isn't an action. It's redirecting your energy toward meaningful action instead of emotional reactions. Like a skilled fighter who can't control his opponent's moves but masters his own strikes, you must focus on what you can control. Life can be harsh and unpredictable, but you always have a choice. Let control you or control yourself. Those who resist reality suffer. Those who embrace it gain strength. Can you look at your hardest moments and say, I will not let this break me. I will use it to grow? If you can, then you grasp the greatest power of all, mastery over yourself, the path to true strength. We've explored powerful principles to help you take control of your life. Every time you react emotionally, you give power away. But when you stay composed, you're not just managing emotions, you're mastering the way you face the world. True strength isn't loud, it's steady. True control isn't about ruling over everything. It's about refusing to let anything rule over you. If this message resonated with you, make it count. Drop a comment sharing what stood out most. Have you ever let emotions take the wheel? More importantly, do you know someone struggling to regain balance? Share this with them. Help them find the calm you're choosing for yourself. And finally, subscribe. This is just the beginning. Your journey to mastering your mind and building an unshakable life has so much more in store.